Last month brought the largest increase in manufacturing employment since 1998. Strongest growth in manufacturing in 12 years. The question is now, how do we keep that momentum going? How do we keep adding more and more jobs?
Obviously, there has been a downturn in manufacturing and our whole economy and everything, and you know, people aren't spending as much, so we don't need to make as much stuff. But I think it also gets blown out of proportion a little bit sometimes too when a bigger company lays off a bunch of people. That makes a bunch of news. But when the machine shop over here hires one or two guys for the night shift, and this one up here calls back a couple of guys to the second or third shift, nobody hears about that. I'm an artist blacksmith. I live in Suamico, Wisconsin, and my shop is just a few miles south of my home in Howard, Wisconsin. I say blacksmith, lots of times people say, oh, you shoe horses. Nope, that's a farrier. I create unique, hand-forged individual pieces for people. The pioneers were heading west on the frontier as little towns opened up. They actually pursued having a blacksmith before they would have a physician in their community. The blacksmith was that important. You know, he made all the tools, all the weapons, all the implements that they needed for everyday life. And you know, at least for a little while when they were first getting started, a blacksmith was more important than a physician.
That big thing keeps coming out. Yeah, we heard manufacturing's dead, and one of the company HR people said, "Well, if it's dead, you got to let me know because I need 10 people." It's not dead. It's changed. The market has changed.
Mr. Whipple, please don't squeeze the Charmin.
Everything that you touch, unless you're living out in a cave somewhere, everything you touch has been manufactured.
When the media or the public debate arises around the demand for more jobs, I think what they're really doing is they're reflecting the fact that the old style jobs are going away. And so the Henry Ford model for repeatable actions by a worker are being replaced by much higher technology solutions to that same process. That higher technology requires a significantly different worker.
The much bigger problem is the lack of qualified workers. We have jobs. I can document jobs all over the place. And the population currently that is looking for jobs simply is not at the level of skills, both in terms of what we call soft skills, the ability to go out, get up every day, go to work, deal with a supervisor, deal with basic communication, math, and reading skills. Much less the technical skills that they need to fill those jobs.
Let's explore a couple of the reasons why people say manufacturing is dead. 50, close to 60 years ago, 1/3 of the U.S. population was employed, of workers at least, were employed by manufacturing. That percentage, depending on where you are in the country, is probably down to 13, 15% at this point. Now, does that mean manufacturing went away? Well, all of us seem to have more things than we had 50, 60 years ago.
If you're going to be global, then you've got to have people that understand the global environment and can participate in that. That's got to come from your educational system. If you're going to compete, then have to generate productivity rates or increases of 10, 15% a year, then you better make sure your governmental policies don't get in the way of that happening. If you're going to be innovative, there has to be actions or tax policies, regulatory policies, people that can drive new products and innovation and R&D. That's not going to come within the walls of a manufacturer directly. They're going to need to be supported by these other elements of the economy.
Well, I'm making some hinges for, I've got a project where these people turned their house into a castle. So this is one of the last projects I'm doing there, and they turned the racquetball court into the Great Hall. So they've got these enormous doors, and these are the hinges that are going to go on those big, heavy wooden doors. We need managers and middle managers and CEOs and bankers and lawyers and doctors, but not everybody's cut out for that. Found a technical school in Minnesota that offered a 2-year degree in solar heating technology. So I went and got my degree there. It allowed me to put together systems and design them and then install them. I learned plumbing, electrical, construction, all sorts of things. I was in heaven, it was great. I wish more parents would be supportive when their kids want to go to a technical school and be a lineman or an HVAC technician or an automotive technician, a welder, learn construction techniques. We need those people. Those are the people who build the things that we use every day.